Oh, I am loving every minute of this, Steve. I tell you what, I have been laughing so hard because everything that we have known in Georgia, and I've been one of the few people actually coming out and saying, look, Georgia was stolen. I know for a fact President Trump won. None of us believe that Biden won Georgia and there was real election fraud. Now it's coming out, and it's so funny that the AJC had to report today that there were thousands of ballots that were scanned twice. And they have been covering up the lies. As a matter of fact, the AJC, the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, we love to call it the Atlanta Urinal and Constipation. But yeah, they've been twisting and turning the truth for a long time. And it's so much fun watching the truth come out. I particularly don't like Greg Bluestein. He reports politics in Georgia, and his job and his goal is to turn Georgia blue. And all he does is twist and turn and lie and make stories appear one way when that's not really the truth. And, you know, that's not what journalism is supposed to be about. That's not what newspapers are supposed to do. They're supposed to report the news instead of being political activists. But that's who the Atlanta Journal and Constipation is. And I love to say it that way because that's who they are. They really don't care about the news in Georgia. They really don't care about the facts and the truth. They only care about their communist agenda, because even one of the billionaire heirs to their gigantic fortune, the family that owns the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, is an Antifa communist. He says it all the time on his social media, and this is just the truth that people need to understand.
Yeah, it's the Cox family. And correct me if I'm wrong, Congressman, but the AJC, they were behind Richard Jewell, right? They were behind, this was the Olympic Park bombing, and they blamed Richard Jewell. They fingered him. Big time. They said this was the guy. When it actually came out, the truth was the complete opposite. And you can go see the movie that's come out about this. They tried to no, they didn't try. They did. They ruined his life. Did. They put him in an early grave. He was a hero who was trying to prevent the bombing. He saved lives. They said that he was the bomber.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And the movie is, everyone should watch that movie because that man's life was ruined. And he was blamed, and it was in the newspaper every single day in Atlanta. And it was the AJC reporting it. And it's such a shame that the media does that. I mean, you've seen what the media has tried to do to me, what they've done to President Trump. Yeah. They do this over and over, and then they tell a lie, they tell a story, and they repeat it nonstop.
But here's the truth, let's talk about one of the reasons you're so hated, and people don't know this, is not just on Capitol Hill where you try to be a true opposition party and make them prove the case on every penny they want to spend. You're the real opposition, because you're putting up a roadblock and saying, just using the rules, saying, hey, let's play with the rules, let's get these votes. People also don't realize Bill Barr blew the president off in the first couple of days in Georgia. Oh, there's nothing to see there, right? You're one of the reason we're here in Georgia today and actually getting to the truth is because you have said from day one, Joe Biden didn't win this state. This state was absolutely stolen by Biden, and that second election was stolen too. And you don't even think the senators are legit. You've hammered this from day one. Tell us what's that been like, and what are you prepared to do now that the information's coming out in Georgia and Arizona? See what's happening. What's going to happen in the process in Georgia so we can get to the process of decertifying these electors for Joe Biden, Congressman Greene?
Yeah, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Jack, because the two of you have also been reporting the truth and been willing to tell the people stories. So what I have done is I have constantly stood up for the people who signed affidavits at risk of perjuring themselves in a court of law, saying that they saw voter fraud. And all I have done is been willing to speak the truth on their behalf, which is exactly what representatives should be doing in Congress. They shouldn't be playing politics, caving to their donors and the lobbyists and just joining the swamp. That's not what should be happening in Congress. But what I've done is I'm a person that has lived in Georgia my entire life. I love our state so much. It's my home. It's the place that I've done business for over 2 decades. It's the place I've raised my children. But what I've done is I have stood up for the truth that I know to be true, and that's President Trump won our state. And I'm so proud to say it. I'll say it over again. They laugh at me. They scoff at me. They constantly make fun of me on every single level. And I just don't care, because I'm going to keep standing with the people and standing with the truth. And here's what we know. We know that there was fraud committed in Fulton County on a criminal level, and absolutely people should go to jail. And the people that are working very hard, they're on the ground. They're people that aren't famous. They don't have their names in light, but they're doing the hard work. And I'm so grateful for Bob Cheeley doing this audit in Fulton County, Susie Voiles and others who are coming out and telling the truth about what they've seen. And their voices are the ones that should be heard, because
I say it shouldn't just be Fulton County. Gabe Sterling and Raffensperger, to me, should lawyer up immediately. Is she back? Okay, hold on. Let's go to MTG. Congressman Greene, the question I got, you said about criminality in Fulton County, and we know that they've retained certain individuals, I think, down there on the of the election officials have retained that top criminal law firm that got Ray Lewis off of the situation with the Super Bowl.
Good for them.
Don't you believe that Gabe Sterling and Raffensperger, Republican officials, should lawyer up also? Isn't their responsibility goes up the chain of command to the state level, ma'am? What are your thoughts?
Didn't they? I mean, the reality is, if they were actually doing their job, then we would have an audit in every single county in the state of Georgia, and we would be digging in and showing real voter fraud everywhere. It shouldn't have to take regular people having to hire attorneys at their own expense to show voter fraud in a Republican-controlled state with a Republican Secretary of State. It shouldn't require this. Yes, they should have attorneys. They need them, because they're the ones that have been lying and have been refusing to do anything about the real voter fraud that happened in Georgia. And it didn't just happen on November 3rd in 2020. This has been going on for years, especially in Fulton County. I want to look into DeKalb County. I want to see Gwinnett County. I'd like to see Cobb County. I'd like to see more counties in our state, and we need a full audit. But here's what we have to have happen. We need our state leaders to step up to the plate and get very real and honest with Georgia voters and Georgia taxpayers and do the job, because they've been sitting on the sidelines wanting all of this to go away because it's such a big mess, and they just don't want to deal with it. You know, when the Republican Party, not just in Georgia, but over the entire nation, gets over their never Trump attitudes and the we hate Trump attitudes that they have tried to hide for so long, but now are being exposed and very obvious, then the Republican Party will actually be representing the people that vote for them. But until then, they're representing the wrong people, and it's not Republican voters, donors, or voters. So this is what we have to do. We have to demand the GOP, demand Republican leaders, serve the people you claim to represent, and expose the voter fraud that happened not just in Georgia, but all over the country, because this election was stolen. There was cheating that happened on a level that we have never seen in our entire history, and it's time to do something about it.
You believe in the basic thesis of the 3 November movement. We cannot move forward. You can't. It's not about new laws or anything. We can't move forward until you get to the absolute bottom of what happened on November 3rd.
No, Steve. No. Here's what I believe in. I believe you have to go two ways. You have to expose the voter fraud. You have to root it out. You have to prosecute people. People need to go to jail. That's what I want to happen. But at the same time you are doing that, yes, we have to drive hard and fast ahead, fixing our party, demanding and holding people accountable in the GOP, in the Republican Party. We have to move ahead while we are fighting and fixing this voter fraud, because we absolutely have to take back the House in 22. Here's what I'm worried about. When people sit back on November 3rd and refuse to go forward, that means I'm afraid they won't vote in 22. And if people sit it out and don't vote, then we're going to repeat the same thing that happened with our Georgia Senate races on January 5th. We lost 2 Republican seats. So this is a war right now, and people need to wake up and realize what is happening. You have to be willing to get out of your comfortable chair at home and stop just posting on Facebook. You have to get involved, get engaged. You have to be Republican activists, holding your elected Republican leaders accountable, and at the same time demanding they do something about the voter fraud that happened on November 3rd in 2020.